Okay, are we actually recording this time?
Maybe.
Because I did my whole like YouTube, and then you're like, wait, I'm not recording yet.
Sometimes you just activate the window, and other times you hit record. We are, because the little thing just popped up. So we're good.
Okay. YouTube, what's up, guys? I'm Brent, and
I'm Jeff. Hi.
Wait, which direction?
I have no idea, and I'll probably flip them around. So, like, I don't know. Like, who knows? We're messing with our cameras. You might have noticed.
There you go.
We got like different camera angles going here. We're trying to up our game for all of you.
There you go. Trying to up it all. I've got a new camera going here, so it's good. I think it's looking better these days. Anyway, hey guys, listen, welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time. Jeff and I are both watching Babylon 5. You guessed it, for the very first time. We've never ever seen any of these episodes except for the ones that we've seen so far. And we're up to episode, what is it now, Jeff?
17.
Wow.
Yeah, 17. We've watched a lot of this show.
Yeah. We're like veterans. We know it all now.
Almost.
We are watching the episode Legacies, or watched the episode Legacies. Jeff, I just watched like 5 minutes ago. The folks that are watching the reaction video, like literally, like I have the same shirt on, and like I'm going from one right into the other. So anyway, you guys, hey, by the way, we like those reaction videos.
Yeah. What do you think? I mean, if you haven't seen them, if you're just joining us for this show, awesome. Cool to have you. But Brent does a fantastic reaction show. Yes. It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yes. A lot of people are asking why Jeff doesn't. And it's because Jeff is doing all the other stuff for the show. So I had to kick in a little extra on this side.
We split the workload. It's pretty good. I mean, those reaction videos take a lot. And
they do. They take especially trying to get it through copyright claims, and then actually, that's not that bad, but like the editing, because you want to make sure it doesn't kick too much of the copyright claim. You got to, anyway.
Yeah.
So you guys make sure you go back and watch that. And today we're getting ready to talk about it. Jeff and I have just seen this episode for the very first time. You guys out there are awesome. Everything just keeps booming with this show. One of the things that keeps booming, Jeff, subscribers.
Right?
Subscribers. You guys freaking rock. But here's what I know, because analytics are what they are. Of our subscribers, all of our views still only account for like, it's like a third of our total views. So we know that like 2/3 of our audience out there are not yet subscribed. So guys, what are you waiting for?
Hit the button.
That subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you know whenever we go live and all that sort of stuff. But make sure you guys hit subscribe, like, because you guys are awesome and we want to connect with you guys and have you guys
We're putting new content out. Like we got Brent's reaction videos. We're putting little previews out. We've got some shorts sometimes that we put out there, and let us know what you think about those things. But also, if you're not subscribed, you're not going to know about them.
Exactly.
So we want to share all this with you.
Yeah. So you guys make sure you do that. But Jeff, with that, let's do what the folks are here to. Listen, we're 3 minutes into the show and they haven't started talking about it yet. So let's start talking about it, Jeff. Legacies, hit it whenever you're ready.
Let's do it.
This is my first time.
First time.
Welcome to Babylon 5 for the first time, not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Akin, and I'm watching Babylon 5 for the first time.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I'm also watching Babylon 5 for the very first time. Jeff and I are two veteran Star Trek podcasters watching this show, Babylon 5, for the very first time. And we're searching for Star Trek-like messages. We're applying that lens, that filter of how you analyze and watch science fiction to this show. And we're trying to decide, should we have watched it 30 years ago? But at the same time, we will also tell you this is not a Star Trek podcast. We don't want to talk about Star Trek that much. We want to talk about Babylon 5 because Babylon 5 is awesome and holds its own.
That's the show we're watching.
Exactly. Yeah. But as it may be, we may pull in a lot of references from a lot of other shows, not just Star Trek. But Star Trek is the one that tends to come to top of mind for Jeff and I because we are overanalyzing that show as well on other podcasts. So for that, we've decided to institute a little game that Jeff and I like to call Three.
The rule of three.
Rule of three. That's a bad name for a game,
I like
Jeff.
it.
We need a good game name.
Any
Like,
ideas?
Trek 3 and you're out. I don't know.
Trek.
3 Trek no Moss. I don't know. Trek no Babble. There you go.
Oh, okay.
Trek no Babble. If that's not a podcast name, somebody needs to start that podcast.
You can have it. That's our gift.
Trek no Babble. Yeah, you guys take it. Go ahead. Jeff and I already have our own. Anyway, shoot, Jeff, you're gonna have to edit this out later. What?
Oh well, I'm happy.
What are we talking about? Oh, rule of three. Here's the rule of three, guys. We're only allowed to make 3 Star Trek references, and it starts right now. And Jeff, I'm counting any reference whatsoever that you make in your recap. Usually we let that one slide, but it starts right now. Any Star Trek messages, any Star Trek references, and you hear this sound, and that's a strike. You only get 3 of them for the whole episode, and then you can't use it. You got to squirm and find a different way to talk about your example of what you're trying to say.
One of my favorite things are the people who on Twitter or emails or YouTube comments buzz themselves when they make references. It's pretty cool. But Brent, we have a 5-star review.
Oh, yes.
This review is on Apple Podcasts. It's from TSF76. And TSF76 says, Babylon 5 is one of my favorite series of all time. And for reasons I can't yet describe as I'm avoiding spoilers, thank you, it had a huge impact on my adolescence and young adulthood. As a lifelong Trek fan, I absolutely love hearing fellow Trekkers enjoying B5. This podcast is not only the best of both worlds, it's a fun way to revisit our Earth Force heroes, ambassadors, and, well, other characters who will soon visit our last best hope.
And I guarantee you, everyone who visits are bad guys for the episode, because that's how it works.
That's what the opens are.
So TSF76. Okay, TSF76. I would love to ask you to do something. Would you please email in and let us know, without spoilers, how Babylon 5 had an impact on you? As Trek fans, we often hear about how Star Trek literally has saved people's lives, or how it's inspired them in their career choice, or whatever it did. But I've never really heard about that, honestly, about any other show. So I'd love to know, without spoilers, what it was that Babylon 5 did for you that inspired you as a kid, coming up when you were watching it.
You can email us at our website, babylon5first.com. It's the number 5 and the word first. There's a little contact button there. I would love, and if you're okay with it, we'd love to share your story. If you're not okay with that, we're okay with that too. Brent, we have another 5-star review.
2? Yes.
Two this time. This one from Shellock42 on Apple Podcasts. Shellock42 says, as a seasoned B5 fan, this is amusing and insightful to hear. Thanks, Shellock.
Jeff, I'm going to start using that. We are amusing and insightful to hear.
I'm going to tell my wife that.
Hey, babe, I'm amusing and insightful.
It says right here on the internet. It's right there. On YouTube, back on our Deathwalker episode, I had to pull. This was this one really hit me.
That was such a great episode.
Okay, so I think Deathwalker so far is one of our most popular episodes, and it was just a great episode.
Yeah, I think it's our most viewed episode, and probably downloaded. You have those numbers on the other side.
Yeah,
it is currently our top rated episode.
Yeah, says a lot about the quality there. But this one, Dominion Spy on YouTube said, for what it's worth, I think you two are ready for immortality. Isn't that cool?
Nice.
Although
I've seen enough, although I got to tell you, I've seen enough shows out there. I don't know if I want immortality.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I welcome a cold embrace when it's time. When it's time. Yes, please. Yeah. When it's time.
And hopefully it's in quite a while.
Right. Yeah. One more on Twitter. You can follow us on our Twitter at Babylon First. But Norman Lau at Lounge Lizard.
Hey,
says,
I know that name.
Yeah, you should know that name. I
What's
might
up,
count
Norman?
Yeah, we'll say hi to Norman. I don't know if we'll tell you he's from a great podcast. I don't want to. Should I burn one of my references? I feel backed into a corner here. I'm gonna Norman, for you, I'm gonna do it. Norman Lau's co-host of arguably the biggest Star Trek podcast out there, Mission Log. God, that's how much I care about you, Norman. Like that's. I only got 2 left, and I'm looking at my recap to make sure I'm going to be okay. I don't have to do any edits. But he had a great comment on Twitter when he said Londo and Jakar were so fully realized by Peter and Andreas right out of the jump gate, which gave them so much room to move past figuring out their respective characters and move right into nuances and layering. They had the best B5 character relationship, hands down, period.
So far, I agree, Norman.
100%.
Jeff and I talk about it every time they're on screen, whether they're together or they're apart. They chew the scene. Like they are the scene. And today's episode was Londo and Jakarless. Although we did get Natoth,
which is great, always great.
We were Jakar and Londoless, which just is always sad. But yeah, we love it. We're some big Londo and Jakar fans here. One of my favorite things about, speaking of that relationship, because it comes directly from that, my new favorite GIF that I try to send as often as I can is, do you remember back during the episode, I want to say it was Grail. That was the one where Jakar was looking for the flower and Londo had it and he was holding it over his head. And it's that scene where Londo like goes into the elevator and he's waving like this. Like, I love this gift. It's so good. So I try to use it every time I can because I know what it means now.
Right. Yeah. Well, he was waving because he couldn't hold his fingers in a different way because it was network TV. Yep.
Right.
It's so good.
Banned it. Sure. Thanks, Norman, and everybody else who's commented. Do we have any more?
That's all I've got for this week.
Okay.
We love getting them, right? YouTube, Twitter, our website. Just send them in. We love sharing them on here. And if you want to hear our favorite drop.
Oh, yes.
5-star review on Apple Podcasts will get you one of those.
There you go. Jeff, I have something that I have to share.
Oh, okay.
So one of our listeners sent in some information this week to me. And you know how, like, for weeks now, I have been on the I don't like Sinclair train.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah.
And I mean, I think we talked about last week, like, I don't know if it's Sinclair or if it's the actor portraying him or what's going on, but it's just not okay. Right.
Yeah, it's been not good. And you've been pretty clear on the acting in there.
Yeah. I kind of make fun of him a little bit on some of my reaction videos and stuff. So anyway, this listener reached out in a non-spoiler way, which I really appreciate.
Thank you.
Let me in on some information that I think is worth sharing. That apparently during particularly this part of the season on forward, the actor was going through some really bad mental health stuff.
Oh.
And I believe they said something like even like paranoid schizophrenia or something, like it was really bad. And there was something about like they kept it a secret and then like JMS shared it after the actor died, and that was actually the actor's wishes to do that. But anyway, there's all this stuff surrounding it. Now, he didn't tell me anything that happens going forward, but he did say that particularly during this time, that's what the actor was dealing with.
Wow.
So that was pretty heavy.
Yeah.
And so first of all, I'm a big believer that when you do something, you make amends in that same forum. So since I have said stuff here, I'm going to say what I'm going to say here. If I've offended anybody in my comments about Michael O'Hare, I'm really sorry. And that was never my intent. Like it really was, like, knowing that that's a thing, that really was not my intent. And going forward, while I think it's absolutely fair to discuss what's happening with the character of Sinclair, I know for at least me personally, Jeff, I can't speak for you, although I know you well enough to say you're going to do this too. I'm just going to forego talking about the acting side.
Yeah.
Of the whole thing, and just understand that that's a thing that's going on with him.
Wow.
But so anyway, again, I don't know what happens going forward. I don't know if he gets over it or what happens. But you know, the thing is, like, I could go forward and just kind of keep pretending I didn't know out of ignorance, the way that the original viewers didn't know what was going on. But the fact is, we are recording this 30 years later, and somebody reached out and said, hey, you just so you know. So that being said, so thank you to the person who reached out and said that to me. And yeah, that's just where we're going.
No, Brent, thanks for, I have a lot of feelings right now, and I'm kind of sorting through them. I'll tell you what's on my mind right up front, and we won't make the whole episode about this. I mean, I feel like I could, but I mean, for somebody in a lead role, right, on a show, I mean, clearly, I mean, this Babylon 5 was not a premiere like Fox, ABC, you know, whatever show, but it was a big deal show, and it was a big deal show to the people that are listening to us right now. And for someone who's the lead of that to be struggling with mental health in a time where you did not, like, he probably couldn't tell it. He probably couldn't tell anybody. He was probably suffering, and yeah, my mind's going a lot of. So I guess what I'll say is I agree, Brent. We can talk about Sinclair. Hands off on Michael O'Hare through this.
Yeah.
I also kind of want to get on my platform, and I just wanted to tell people that if now's not 1994, right? So if you're struggling with your mental health, there's a lot of things you can do to get help. And I'll put myself out there. If you just need someone to talk to or anything, you can get me on the Twitter or the whatever. My personal Twitter is at Jeff T. Akin. Feel free to reach out. Your mental health's a big deal. And, no, thanks for sharing that. I appreciate it.
And Jeff, if I could add on to that, particularly to those who are of our age, Jeff, who find themselves, you know, in their 40s, maybe their 50s, late 30s, wherever you are. And if you suspect something may be happening, as I did about a year ago, please schedule with your doctor. You call your primary care. That's all you got to do. Call your primary care and just say, hey, I need to talk. And they will help set you up with whatever the right next step is. Also, kind of in the same vein of what Jeff just said, I know what I needed when I was dealing with this a year ago for the very first time. Getting diagnosed with clinical depression was for me. I needed a stranger. I needed somebody I didn't know. I needed somebody who didn't know me. And there was somebody within the Star Trek community who was willing to just tell me their experience and help me, like, with what the right next steps were. And for that person's privacy, I'm not going to shout them out, but I'm happy to be that stranger for you guys out there, if that's your case. At Brent Allen Live on social media, Jeff can be that stranger for you. But whatever you do, even if you suspect, maybe it's not, but if you suspect, please just get help.
Yeah. Yep. Well, thank you.
On that light note.
Yeah, thank you. And thanks to the listener that shared that. That's really important. And I just want to echo again. Brent said, I'll say it as well. I apologize. I'm sorry if anything we said impacted anybody.
Yeah.
Okay, well, let me just
now
pivot.
We know.
Yeah.
So
and I will just pivot and back into the show.
All right, well, here we go. In today's episode, we are discussing the episode Legacies. And Jeff, while you and I may have just watched this like 10 minutes ago, why don't you tell the folks out there who haven't seen it in a while, or maybe the people who are just listening to us anyway, who've never watched the show at all, tell us about this episode.
Well, this is another one from DC Fontana, so this is a dense one. A young street urchin from down below, Elisa Belden, does a little shoplifting and gets hit with a mind burst. It's kind of like puberty for a telepath that develops that talent later in life. Did I just have a ding happen? Did you hear a ding? I'm sorry. I'm going to do that whole thing over again.
I didn't, just so you know.
Well, there we go. Now I just said that. Like I added work to myself for the editing. Sorry, YouTube.
Hey, YouTube, we always talk, you get the unedited version.
Yeah.
This is the unedited version. Like Jeff will clean it up and make it good for the podcast later. This is the unedited. You got behind the scenes.
You get the good stuff. All right, here we go.
Yeah. And the bad stuff.
There's another one from DC Fontana, and yes, that means it's a dense one. It's a young street urchin from down below, Elisa Belden. She does a little shoplifting and gets hit with a mind burst. It's kind of like puberty for a telepath that develops the talent later in life. Well, Talia Winters, remember Talia, the telepath? Yeah, she's around. And Ivanova's there too. And they both help her out, and the battle for her soul begins. Talia's prepping to ship her off to Psycor, while Ivanova takes on the personal mission of finding her any other option, by any means necessary. Holding her for shoplifting, selling her off to the Narn, and meeting with the Minbari are all on the table. And speaking of the Minbari, the military leader that almost took them to victory over Earth has died. Shy Elite Branmer's body is on a war cruiser and is touring the galaxy as a monument to war. Elite Naroon, who appears to be a graduate from the Ben Zane School of Acting, by the way, is leading the cruiser and seems to be itching for any reason to get into a fight with Sinclair and the humans. The viewing ceremony begins, and just like Vincent Vega opening Marcellus Wallace's briefcase, all we see is a little light shining out of the coffin. But this time, we are not cool. No, we are not cool at all. You see, Branmer's body is missing. And this, despite the fact Naroon wouldn't let anyone except for his Minbari soldiers stand guard there. Garibaldi launches a full-scale investigation that takes him to Natoth, some carrion eaters or Pakmara, some scavengers, and others. During the investigation, Delenn shares with Sinclair that Branmer was religious caste and became a war leader because of the holy war against Earth that started because of the murder of Dukat. Remember Dukat from that Soul Hunters episode? Yeah, I've honestly blocked most of that one out too. Well, she also shares that it was the religious caste that issued the surrender order, and to this day, there's a rift between the castes over that. The investigation turns up nothing. But Elisa Belden, remember her? Well, she meets with Delenn and learns what it means to be a telepath with the Minbari. Sounds pretty sweet. But she reads Delenn's mind and sees what happens to Branmer. Delenn stole the body and cremated it. Sinclair confronts her. She says she was fulfilling Branmer's final wishes. She comes clean to Naroon about it, who has been threatening Babylon 5 and even got into a fist fight with Sinclair. But they agree to tell everyone that his body was transformed, and Branmer's a god now. And by agree, I mean that Delenn spoke for the entire Grey Council and ordered him that this is what's gonna happen. Naroon apologizes to Sinclair, and he finds a new respect for him and even thinks that maybe, just maybe, they were right to not eradicate humans from the universe. Elisa decides to skip out on Psycor and agrees to ship off to the Minbari. But before she does, she shares a word with Sinclair. A word that is such a big deal. Delenn blocked her from her mind as soon as she saw it. And that word is chrysalis. Now, Brent, what did you think of Legacies? I can't hear you. You're muted or something.
DC Fontana is awesome.
Yes.
Oh
Yes,
my
she
God.
is.
As soon as I saw that name, and I make it a point to check out the writers now. As soon as I saw that name, I lost it because like you just know it's going to be a good episode when she writes it. You know, it's going to be thick. It's going to be full. It's going to be plot heavy. One of the things I really liked about this was usually JMS, so far, at least as we've experienced, like he tends to save the big pushing the plot forward episodes for himself. And he kind of farms out these other episodes to other people. But I feel like this was a big pushing the plot forward kind of an episode, even though it wasn't necessarily the main theme of the episode. You know what I mean? But I mean, gosh, this episode, I mean, it's a detective story at its heart, right? Like that's what it is. And through that plot device, we found out, and again, got some more questions, but we got some more answers about the Minbari and the Great Council and what happened with Sinclair. And there's this whole rift between Talia and Ivanova that we really haven't seen since the first episode, Midnight on the Firing Line, right? Like we haven't really seen it since then, and all of a sudden it's come back and it's a thing. And oh my gosh, it just I can't say that I loved this episode, but I really, really liked this episode. I liked what it did. I liked where it went. There was just some neat stuff in it, and frankly, I don't know that I have a ton of notes because I was just in the episode.
Wow.
How about you?
I I didn't like this one.
Whoa.
Yeah, I did not. I found it hard to watch.
Really?
Yeah, I can't describe it. So I watched it the first time, and as I was watching it, I just had a feeling, I don't know, something, and it was uncomfortable. And I thought maybe it was just maybe the way I was watching it, where, I don't know, something. So when I watched it the second time and really started taking my notes on it, same thing. And I think, and this, I don't know, it's a kind of a petty note after what we just talked about a minute ago, but near the end, like Sinclair is only peppered through this episode, and I think he's used pretty sparingly throughout this one, but every time he's on screen, he looks sweaty and uncomfortable. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes, like if you drank too much coffee and didn't eat enough breakfast, and he had that look, and that's kind of how I felt through this whole episode.
He does, I mean, I should say that he does tend to seem to be moist. Like, like to the point that like the makeup people are spritzing him down before the camera rolls is kind of what it looks like. You do see that quite a bit with him.
But that said, if I had read this episode, it would have been amazing. I think what it did and the nuggets that it dropped for us, especially about the Minbari, huge, awesome. That was good. I loved it in Toth. I love that we got some Natoth again. It's been way too long since we've seen her.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to sit there and go, what didn't I like about this episode? And there's I'm not sure where you're coming with that. And so I'm sure we'll get into all that. Cause this is one of those, like, I like the reveal of this at the end that, here's Delenn, like, this is a great dishonor, Commander, and whatever she says. And then like, it's her the whole time. Yeah. And her people. And, this is one of those rare instances where an A plot and a B plot join together
perfectly
and impact each other. Yeah. Oh, so good. But even the pieces that get dropped that for two people like us who analyze science fiction shows the way that we do, there's just a lot to chew on here. And that might be what I'm kind of clinging to. It's possible that I just like it just because it's DC Fontana and that's it. That could be it. I'll fully acknowledge that. But a couple of things. I want to point out some maybe just side things that I noticed. Minbari ears. I've never noticed them before this episode, but their ears are on their neck.
Yeah. Under their weird little, like under their little, I don't know what that headdress thing is, but it's like, it's just down under the jaw.
Yeah. Like the makeup people, like whenever they put this thing on, because obviously their ears are in normal spots because they're humans playing a role, but they have made up ears down here. I've just never known. Like it was so like they were so prominent on Naroon, and then when like it flashed back to Delenn, I noticed them on her too, and I was like, "Whoa!"
Well, did you notice too with Naroon how he and like all the other soldiers, the headdress? I wish I knew what that was. And frankly, if it's not a spoiler, I'm okay with you telling us what that is. Yeah. But whatever that headdress thing is, like for Naroon and the other ones, like it was winged and pointy.
It was a different shape. It was a different shape. And I had a note about that like, I wonder if this is a difference between the warrior cast and the religious cast.
Yeah, I thought that.
Because Delen's kind of like comes up into a point, and his makes like a V or like a W almost.
Yeah.
Like it's more spiky, like you would expect for a warrior.
And Lanier's does the same as Delen's. It's kind of a softer, pointier. And so I thought I had the same thing. Oh, is it because like genetically, they're genetically predisposed to their cast? But then Delen like breaks down a little bit where Branmer was he was a warrior by his father and religious by his mother. Yeah. So it's like you inherit it, but I don't know. There's a lot more depth to the caste system in this one.
Yeah. And so, and I want to ask questions about the whole mother-father thing here, but what I'm still unclear on is that headdress removable, or is that a part of their body? Because, and I go all the way back to the Gathering where it was like the same color, same tone as their body, but since it clearly looks metal, so I'm kind of to say no, it doesn't, but is it maybe a part of their body? I just don't know. I haven't seen it one way or the other just yet, but it kind of reminded me of Klingon head ridges.
Yeah.
And you remember like they got really good with the head ridges that various families.
Yep.
Like Worf and Alexander had the same head ridges. The Duras family, they had same head ridges, different things like so that they were cognizant of what they were doing with those head ridges in Star Trek. I wonder if maybe it's less warrior cast versus religious cast, and maybe is it more familial? But I don't think Lanier and Delenn are related, so maybe not. Like I don't know. I don't know why I'm so intrigued by the headpieces, but I am, and I notice it every time they're on screen.
Well, I think we're learning little bits about the different races. Like we learned about the Narn and the pouches, a couple episodes ago, and which is I'm still like, okay, they still look like lizards to me. And then in this one about the headdresses, and then seeing the ears, and the fact that they were the same color in the Gathering and they changed them leads me to think that they're part of them. Like it's a part of them, and they just wanted them to stand out more. Some of they got a couple extra bucks and could do the makeup a little better. But yeah, like what do they mean? Is there a status to them like there are for the Centauri and their, Vidal Sassoon hair setups that they've got there? Yeah, I don't know. Do you want to talk about the mother, father, and cast thing a little bit?
Yeah, I do. I was actually just looking at my notes to see if I had any like stupid references to just kill right now, and I don't. It's really everything else that I have. Yeah, let's talk about the mother father thing, because we, as you said, we learned a lot more about Minbari culture in this one, very indirectly, I might add. And there's this big piece, and we've heard it before, the warrior cast and the religious cast. And if we remember before, like there's a thing where they should never agree, because if they agree, then it's bad for the whole galaxy, apparently.
Like I saw that.
Right?
Yeah, it was bad for Earth. Very bad.
Right? Remind me of the mother-father thing, because I want to circle back to that after we talk about this. So here's a question that I have. Well, let me back up. We learned towards the end that it was in fact the Grey Council that called off the warrior cast.
Yeah. So
the Grey Council is a part of the religious cast, and they were the ones who called off the warrior cast from attacking. And Naroon said something to the effect of that they decided that or he said something to the effect like the Grey Council they had decided that all species should be allowed to live.
Yeah.
Like they were about to wipe off humanity, and they decided that all species should have the right to live. So did that have something to do with the decision to pull back? I don't know. Like, am I reading too much into that one little line? That's
I don't
kind
think
of a throwaway deal.
I don't think you are, because if we take what we learned, we learned all this in this episode, that Dukat was murdered, and the humans, Earth, sees that as a horrible, tragic mistake. But the Minbari saw it as an act of war. And that's what led to what we found out here. It was a holy war. Like it was a holy war.
It was a holy war, yeah.
And Branmer was a high priest of the religious caste and moved over, which I've got questions on, like moved over to be a warrior leader, and led the charge against Earth. And I think that line that I don't think is so throwaway about letting the other species live, and that the Grey Council and the religious caste who declared a holy war were the ones that said, "Whoa, we're going to surrender." But the warrior caste was all in at that point.
Right.
And so I don't know, as I see it now, like, and with the stuff with Naroon kind of leading the warrior caste, their hope is to, like, I don't know that to them the war ever really ended.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
So then here comes the other question that I have. She started ordering him. Like, she pulled this card on him, and all of a sudden he snapped real quick, like through gritted teeth, but still he was like, "Yes, Satai Delin."
Yeah. He cowered.
"Yes, ma'am, Satai." Yeah, like he bowed to her and stuff like that. Like, you know, it got real formal real quick. And so my question then comes, what is it that the religious caste has over the warrior caste? What kind of control is it? Why does this control exist? Because apparently, like, they bow down to the religious caste. Like, do they hold something over them?
I think it's more a hierarchy system. So I'm making the assumption, I think you are too, that the Grey Council is religious caste, and the Grey Council seems to be the ruling body of the Minbari. She said, and this is kind of wrapping it to the mother and father thing a little bit. He says he's warrior caste by his father, and she's like, and he's religious by his mother, and you know which takes precedence. And my question there was,
I missed that.
Yeah, and so she hit that. And so, but I had the question of, is it that religious caste takes precedence, or is it that the mother's caste takes precedence? But my assumption based on everything else is that it's the religious caste is always going to be hierarchically above the warrior caste.
What if it's both? What if they, you know, their culture honors the mother's lineage over the father's lineage, and the religious caste takes precedence as well?
Yeah, right.
But okay, so let's wrap this back around to that, because so all of those questions come up. Like, the Grey Council, the religious caste, obviously holds a big, huge sway over the warrior caste, but they're still supposed to be never agreeing on anything.
Mm-hmm.
So with mom and dad getting together, each from a different caste, you get the idea that that doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
Is this a Romeo and Juliet situation for him?
Wow.
Like, and is this going to be something that comes back? Like, is this showing a way that they can come together? Because this guy can have that, like, he can live in both worlds.
Exactly.
Because of it, you know?
It makes him perfect for this holy war, right? I'm a high priest and I get this. Also, I'm this incredible military strategist and warrior. And so I am custom built for this war. Yeah.
I just want to go back to my prediction from last week about what this episode should be.
Here it is.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay. First of all, I totally called out this was Sinclair and the Minbari.
Totally. Yep.
100%. But I also launched a new theory. Now, honestly, I was kind of grasping at straws and just kind of pulling something out of the air there. And now I'm going to double down on that. I said last week that Sinclair is part Minbari.
Yeah.
And that's why he was so important. And that's why they pulled him into the lead Babylon 5 and all of this stuff. What we just see here is, what if Branmer and Sinclair are like related somehow?
No.
What if I'm just, like, you know, we're talking like Spock and Cybok here. Or
exactly. I'm glad you burned it, because I was going to the same place.
I'm just saying, like, wouldn't that be great? Like, the two commanders on the front line are brothers, like, battling it out. And,
right.
You know,
and that's why they brought him in. Branmer's like, bring this guy in. And the Grey Council's like, okay. Yeah. They both had a vested interest in Sinclair. The whole war was built to bring in Sinclair and set up this thing. I found a reason to back up your claim as well.
Yes.
Yes. So at the very end,
is my new pet theory. So,
and I love it. I'm all in at this point. But at the very end, and we'll talk about what Sinclair said that led to this when we get to our closing thoughts. I'm sure we both have it listed in here. But Naroon apologizes to Sinclair. Sinclair says a cool thing about not fighting and talking.
But I'm sorry, I'm going to interrupt you.
Nope.
That was a great apology, by the way.
It was a
Like,
perfect.
Being forced and ordered to do it, it was a perfect apology.
Yeah. He was humble. He said what he did wrong, why he did it, how he's not going to do it again. I mean, perfect.
So good.
Yeah, so good. He, but then to cap it all off, he says, "You speak like a Minbari, Commander, because you are a Minbari."
He did. He did. Sinclair's a Minbari.
They're dropping the little pieces everywhere.
I'm telling you. And that's what the chrysalis thing is. It turns you from a human into a Minbari or back the other way around.
No, Chrysalis is Sinclair.
Oh, he is the chrysalis.
Yes, and Delenn knows because that. Oh my God, Brent, this is the whole war.
He is the chrysalis.
He is. The whole war was built to bring him in. Delenn is on Babylon 5 for the sole purpose of watching for the moment they're ready to cocoon him or whatever and let him become the chrysalis that he then launches and emerges as this new, like, he is transforms into a god like Branmer apparently did. There it is. Why aren't we writing this show?
Right? Wow. Okay. So
We took a long walk
there's
there.
another question though. We're going to say that his body was transformed.
Yeah.
Is
Does that
this
happen?
something that we talk about a lot on Minbar? Does it ever actually happen? Or do they really go steal bodies, cremate them, and then just tell people that their body transformed and like this is a thing? Like, what's up with that?
Yeah, that hit me. And I think what hit me the most on it was like, because she's saying it, right? Like, oh, I was just going to tell him this. But then she does. And he's like, okay, yeah, sounds good.
Right.
People totally buy this. It works. Really?
Is the religious cast lying to the warrior cast? I mean, wow, there's some parallels you might be able to draw there if you you want to roll with it. Gosh, Jeff. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, theories coming together. I like it.
And it's totally backed up objectively by everything in the episode so far. No one can prove us wrong.
Mm-hmm.
You know, until other episodes come out.
So I want to get to the end of this, but I think we'd be better served. We got to talk about Alyssa before, because I think, the end of this is really going to be the end of our conversation on it. So let's go over and talk about Alyssa. So we get this new girl who really reminded me of a very young Rosalind Chow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
okay,
that's what
okay.
that was the vibe I was getting from her, was a young Rosalind Chow. And boy, she felt it to me. But so she gets this mind burst, and like Ivanova's chasing after her right after she steals this thing. And then Talia looks at her like, I thought Talia like shot something at her,
I
like
did too.
mentally. And I was like, whoa.
Yeah, especially when
just,
she said she got a mind blast. I'm like, from you? Like, did
Right?
you do something?
Right. But then turns out it's just puberty's, like that was the moment her powers decided to activate. And I'm thinking back to like Jubilee during the X-Men, the first, remember X-Men, the animated series back in the 90s?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just they're all puberty, just onsets all of this stuff. But this sets up the whole Ivanova versus Talia thing. And we really dive back into Ivanova and her issues with Psychor.
Mm-hmm.
And Talia, despite what happened with Ironheart, who got a shout out in this episode.
Yep.
And she's like, don't you talk about him. Right. Despite what happened there, Talia is still very pro Psychor.
Yeah. I had a hard time buying that. I mean, and just because
Why
of
does
the
she have
iron
black gloves?
So she has
Is that a
them.
thing?
Bester had them. Harem and Gray had them. I think it's a thing for Psychor telepaths. I think
Like,
it's a thing.
is it like if they touch somebody, bad stuff happens to them or something? It's a way to control.
Well, I think in the gathering when Lita Alexander went to put her hand into Kosh, she took her glove off. Like it intensifies.
Right. Or like it's like here's another X-Men reference for you. Good thing we're not counting these. Right. like with Rogue, you touch them and like you zap, suck in their life force. So anyway,
yeah.
I will say that I think I've mentioned this before, but it was so prominent in this episode. I'll bring it up again. I really like the Psychor badge.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to be a part of Psychor. I don't want to go sporting that, But the fact that the Psi Core badge is the letter Psi,
It's pretty cool,
like,
right?
that makes a lot of sense. If you didn't know what it was, you just think cool logo. But if you do know what it is, like,
You're like,
see what you did there. I see what you did there. But anyway, so here's a new lady. Ivanova's like, I'm going to charge her. We haven't wrapped up her criminal stuff yet.
Mm-hmm.
And then how long did it take you, Jeff, before you're like, this is just Ivana trying to keep her out of Psychor. She doesn't care anything for the charges.
Oh, 4 seconds. Like it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like immediately.
It took me way longer.
Yeah. No, immediately I was just like, I think it was her facial reaction. And then it was when Alyssa woke up and she was like, oh, you mean like your mom? Like, and she just immediately, it's like, yeah, like this is a personal. And then she just outright said it to Sinclair, right? I have a personal matter. This is not a personal matter. This is a matter of station security, and you helping prosecute a criminal. Oh, but it's personal. I had a real problem. I mean, I get why she made it personal.
Yeah,
but also, I feel like she should be. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe it's not weird given what just happened, right? In eyes with everything. Maybe it's close in proximity, but it just kind of felt out of character for Ivanova to like pick this kid. This is where I'm going to fight my battle right here.
Right. I mean, so as far as the criminal charges, let's be honest, those criminal charges would be a little bit overblown. This is a juvenile who is doing some low level shoplifting. This is not a deal for the commander of the station to deal with, or the lieutenant commander of the station.
Yeah. And if she was going to prosecute her for any crime, it should be her acting.
Right.
Sorry.
I mean, this is well, like I said, a young Rosalind Chow. Just saying. This would barely even be a blip on Garibaldi's radar.
Right.
To be quite frank with you. Like this is go give him to the what was the judge guy called?
The ombuds.
The ombud. Yeah, like just let it roll through that. She's going to get a slap on the wrist. She's not going to spend any time in holding cells or anything like that. And she's going to go right back out there and she's going to go on the streets. And I mean, this girl's Aladdin.
Yeah,
that's what she is. She's a street urchin. She's Aladdin. Those people and a 250,000 plus population.
Yeah.
Those people exist. It's just a part of it. So is it station security? No. Like, so the fact that Ivanova is keeping that, it had to be personal.
Oh yeah.
And it's Ivanova's like, I'm not letting this girl go down that path, at least not without knowing what's really going on. I kind of like that Ivanova took that on herself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because it wasn't about station security. She was using that as her excuse.
It was one of the options, right? It's like, hey, if I can't do these other things, I can arrest you and I can lock you up and make your trial take forever so you don't go to Psychor. Right. But I don't know. Right. I mean, I get it. I understand it, but I also feel like it's just I don't know, maybe I'm totally off base on this, but for her to have come this far in her career, is this the first time she's ever run into somebody who's now displaying her powers and she's like, I'm planting my flag here. This one doesn't go.
This might be the first time that she's ever met somebody at the onset of their powers.
Yeah, maybe.
And that she has any real ability to do anything about it. It might be. I don't know.
It might. Yeah, I don't know. It just it feels contrived to me, the whole thing. What I will say though, to get off of Jeff bagging on this whole thing, is I really appreciated her creativity in finding other options, right? Sure. Like, especially going to the Minbari. Like that should have been step number one. For some reason, she went to Natoth. That was a great scene, though. I love.
Now, see, I thought, like, I got the feeling that Natoth came to the girl, and Ivanova didn't know. That was the feeling I got. Because Ivanova comes in like, what kind of options? This is just between me and the girl. Yeah, but what kind of options? Like, that was the feeling I got.
Well, I felt like, if I remember in there, because it was almost like devil and angel on Elisa's shoulders, right? With Natoth, well, we'll pay you like this. They, I guess that was a different scene when Ivanova was like, they enslave
you and all that.
Maybe it was Talia that was with, because there was someone else with Alyssa when she was in there with Natoth.
Yeah,
I think. Either way, she goes there. I loved that scene though because it was a direct callback to the gathering when Jakar was like, "Listen, we could get your tissue samples, or I could be kind to you, and we could do this the old-fashioned way."
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. The one way is it's more time and it's more money and all that kind of stuff, but we'll do it.
Yeah.
So, but hey, reminder that the Narn don't have they're the only species without telepaths, which I don't believe is going to be something that lasts. And they're still trying to get their hands on telepaths, which I think they absolutely eventually will.
Yeah, I agree. It'd be weird. It'd be weird if they didn't. They'll find some way to get there. I want to know what she saw in Natoth's mind. Like she was repulsed by just touching it a little bit. So I can imagine, all day long.
What do you think it was? Was it just Natoth is generally an evil person and that's what she saw? Or is it like, did she actually see the homeworld and the homeworld's just screwed up and you don't want to go there?
I think that she saw like death and murder and, I think that Natoth and Natoth maybe more, because Natoth is like a unsharpened version of Jakar, right? So, whereas Jakar is going to, he still just wants to burn your world and carve your bones into flutes, but, he'll work the diplomatic avenues and the kind of work around this. Natoth is like, nope, I got a sledgehammer. I'm swinging it and I'm going to burn your homeworld down. Like that's going to happen. Right. And I think that's what she saw. I'm guessing.
Okay. Just you see the person. I mean, that's who Natoth is, right? Like
totally.
Like we like her, but she'll cut you, man.
She will grab a screwdriver or a wrench and beat you over the head when you're a massive war criminal. Yeah.
That was one of my favorite scenes of the show so far. Oh man, she beat that girl down. So she goes off, she finds out something about the Minbari, and so she's going to be able to go stay with the Minbari now, which that seems like a much better option. By the way, speaking of learning about Minbari culture, this seems really cool. This seems really like, hey, we could learn something from this today.
Yep.
You talk about Star Trek, this sounded incredible. I mean, I'm talking season finale of season 1 of Next Generation. Bonk, bonk, here's what we are trying to preach to you. People who serve others, if they're going to do that, then we are going to do what it takes to meet their needs. We will provide clothing and housing and food, and then we will leave them alone to do what they're called to do.
Yep.
It is a small price to pay for what they do for our society.
I love
that's cool.
I love the way they played it too, where at first Alyssa was just like, well, I don't get paid for this. Right. And Delen's like, oh, it is so much better than getting paid. Like, not only are you gonna be well taken care of, but there's honor and dignity, and you will be serving, that was super cool. And I think it says a lot that at the end of all of that, she chose to do that kind of on her own, right? Because her question to Sinclair was like, hey, you think they'll be upset if I decide to go with the Minbari? Like, she made that choice on her own. And I thought that was a really important moment that she did that.
They let a 14-year-old make a choice, a life choice on her own. I don't know.
It's a good thing Dr. Franklin wasn't in charge of who was making decisions then.
He would have forced her to do something. He would have forced her into Psychor or something. That was that was a cool line. The only question I then have is, so are the Minbari who do that, like, are they so altruistic that people don't take advantage of that system? And how do you monitor that? Or do you allow people to take advantage of the system so that you actually get the people that do it for real?
Right. Yeah.
Like you accept that.
Yeah. Knowing that you'll catch the other.
Yeah.
Are telepaths in both castes? Because I feel like a warrior caste telepath would be a very different thing.
Yeah. Can you move between castes?
I think so.
I mean, a lot of times you're not supposed to, right? It's whatever you're born into, but
if you're a high priest, well, I don't know. Cause I mean, it wasn't clear that he became warrior caste. He just led the warrior caste.
I don't know. So little bit of Brent history. I know my family goes all the way back to, what is it, 1061? When my great whatever grandfather was a cardinal in France, Viking France, and he got together with the Norman, William the Conqueror.
Sounds right.
The guy who came over the channel and like conquered England and
Yeah.
brought them all together.
Yeah.
He was William the Conqueror's like personal cardinal, but he also like commanded William the Conqueror's army. And he was known like to be much better as a military commander than he was as a cardinal. And in fact, he got brought up on charges as a cardinal with the people for some stuff. But that's where my family goes. That's how my family not just came to America. Forget that. I know how my English people came to England.
Wow.
So I'm just saying the idea that a priest actually is also a military commander is not that far-fetched to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, especially if you consider it a holy war.
Right.
Yeah. This is just an extension of who I am and what I do. So.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, I don't know if you're just, you know, Joe Average Minbari in the warrior cast, and all of a sudden you get a hankering, you're like, I'm gonna go to the monastery, be a monk and do the religious thing. Like, I don't know if that's even an option. I would think not.
Here's another question. Does it say anything about Minbari culture that somebody who was born of both castes ascends to the role of high priest?
Wow. Yeah. And right at a time we can assume, you know, 10 years ago, 11 years ago is when the Earth Minbari War started. But prior to that, you had the Dilgar with Deathwalker and all that. Like there was just the Narn and the Centauri. Like, there's
going at
a lot of war going on. So it was kind of like, well, hey, you needed someone who was the best of both. But I think a lot of that, I think the Branmar rose from that. It was Dukat who was leading the charge prior to all of that. And we don't know
much about him yet, like at all.
All we know is that the Soul Hunter didn't get his soul.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we learned today that wasn't it the death of Dukat that kicked off the war?
Yeah.
Or was it the death of Dukat that ended the war?
It started it. And the humans, Garibaldi was like,
killed him?
Yeah, that's what I got out of there. They said that the murder, they said the murder of Dukat, Garibaldi was like, hey, that was a really unfortunate mistake. That was not, you know what, well, mistake or not, it's led to this holy war.
Yeah. So who was Dukat? Was he of one caste with it? Anyway, all of that. So let's get it down to the end. We realize what happens with Delenn. She's the one who's behind it. By the way, we see the vision that young little Alyssa got out of her mind. And you see these people, like I immediately went like, is that the Great Council?
Oh,
and then like I'm looking and I'm like, neither one of those two are Delenn. Is this, and they have like these little flashy crystal things which freezes people
that were little little pyramids. They were
right.
Yeah.
And they freeze people and like you could just walk in and like, whoa, that's weird. They flashy thinged them, you know?
Yep.
And they took his body, they cremated it, and she puts the smackdown on him. Naroon, and so to fast forward through all that, Naroon and Sinclair are meeting. They're going through that apology, and Sinclair says a line that I don't think anybody but DC Fontana could have written. I'm sorry. Let me. He says, let the warriors praise him as the ascended God or whatever that they think he is, and then let everybody else praise him for what he really was. You know, and he goes,
man of peace.
Yeah. And and he says this before. He says, we fought long enough. Maybe it's time we start talking.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because there's an interesting thing that happens. What does it look like when two opposing generals finally meet face to face after the war?
Right? Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And we got a taste of that with Naroon. Naroon wasn't the general, right? But he was attached at the hip
Yeah.
to Bran Murren. So this was our version of that. And Sinclair being able to just say, like, at the end when he said, I'll send a message from me as Commander Sinclair from the Battle of the Line and from the commander of Babylon 5. I'll say what a great guy and great leader this person. You would do that for us?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. That was good.
You do that too. I mean, Jeff, can you get any more Star Trek than that moment right there? To avoid further escalation and to avoid getting back into a war, and just to show respect that I have for this person, for who they are and what they've done, me as this guy, I'm going to do that because it's time that we start talking.
Yeah. Well, let's do it, right? We're at that point. Let's boil this down. Let's talk about the Star Trek message in this. You've already started, so I'll hand it to you. We rate the show how Star Trek it was. And that doesn't mean like Star Trek, it's like, what's the message? Hope for the future, the mirror that's held up to us, the lesson for us to learn. We'll rate it 0 to 5 deltas. Brent, why don't you wrap up your thought there?
Yeah, I'm going to give it 3.5 deltas. I'll start right there.
Okay.
3.5 deltas is where I'm going to go because of what I was just saying. That whole, we've fought long enough. It's time to start talking. The whole, like, the package that it's wrapped in could be any show. It doesn't have to be Star Trek. Like, it could be any show whatsoever out there, but to go through that. And then there's most of it felt more like an information dump. You know what I mean? Like let's move this bit along, but to see the bit of Minbari culture where they're going to take care of those who serve, and there's no concept of worrying about people who are abusing the system. That is holding up a mirror, or no, I'm sorry, not holding up a mirror. That is giving us hope.
Yeah.
For where we could be.
We could do this. Yeah.
There is a bit of holding up a mirror of going, hey, folks, you're not this. How about we take care of those who take care of us?
Yeah.
And live a little more altruistically here. There is that, because it held up a mirror to show us what we were not. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
Definitely gave us hope of what we could be. But then, I mean, it's so Captain Picard. It's Kirk. It's all
Kirk.
of them.
Mm-hmm.
It's all of them. We're going to talk this out. And I'm going to take this step forward. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to make this step. I'm going to send this letter. I'm going to send this announcement from me, the captain of the flagship of the Federation, or in this case,
Yeah, Commander of Babylon 5.
Yeah, so all of that stuff feels so very Star Trek to me. That's where I'm going to give it a 3.5. I don't feel like it's just right up that alley, but it's more than halfway for me. Like it's there.
Yeah. Okay.
How about you, Jeff?
I agree with absolutely everything that you said. I think that the humility that both Naroon and Sinclair showed to each other in that, well, frankly, that Sinclair showed the whole time. Right. I think he made some really snide comments to Garibaldi or Delenn, but that's because he had relationships with them. When he was with Naroon, he was respectful. He showed humility, and he didn't have to at any point. I mean, he could have turned them away. The episode started with that conflict. Your gun ports are open. This isn't our procedure. And then he was like, okay, I'll play your game. And it was really that whole thing where he saw the bigger picture and the greater. He understood that he and Babylon 5 are the last best hope for peace. And that meant that he had to kind of step down, be powerful by stepping down, if that makes sense, right? Like, yeah. I thought it was great. I loved, I said earlier, Ivanova problem solving, right? Like looking for options for Alyssa. I thought that was great. I loved all the Minbari stuff and how they treat their telepaths. My only problem, so I started it at 4 deltas. I'll tell you that right there. I started at 4. I also have on here 3.5 deltas for mine. I kept waffling between 3 and 4, and I was like, it's all 3.5. But the reason I was waffling and dropped it from the 4 was the scene where Ivanova was trying to talk Alyssa out of the Narn. And I just felt that she had so many biases and racist thoughts about the Narn that she was just dumping onto this kid, where she's like, "Did you know? Like they have slaves and they do this horrible. We don't know that.
Right.
Like, these are assumptions." And she's dumping them onto she's taking her thoughts and her biases and dumping them onto the kid.
Right.
And not okay. But I think this is a great episode with some great messages that just to me felt uncomfortable and weird. And I don't want to watch again for that reason. But 3.5 deltas. That's where I'll put it. That's it for Legacies.
That's it.
That's it.
All right.
That's a lot. Next week, we're going to be watching A Voice in the Wilderness, Part 1, for the first time. So this poses us with a question. Normally, this is where we play our game and we guess what the next episode's going to be based on title alone. But before we get there, or if we even get there, it's a 2-parter.
Okay.
I'm not sure how. Do we want to do it like part 1 episode, part 2 the next week, or do we want to combine them? Or
Jeff, that's a great question, because it really depends on what kind of, I don't know, like what kind of
like 2-parter it is.
I
think
because sometimes you have a 2-parter that, like, frankly, the 2 episodes are very different episodes. They're just connected by a cliffhanger. And then other times you have 2-parters where it's literally an episode just split over 2 weeks, And so I don't know, like if we do Best of Both Worlds, you can't do those as a 2-parter together. Like, you have to, you've got to get right up to that point when Riker says fire, and then you got to stop and catch the person's reactions, and then you go watch it again. Like, that's just kind of how you need to do that. Pretty much every other 2-parter throughout all of Star Trek, you can just watch them side by side. So I don't know what that is, but here's what I would suggest. And this isn't going to be good for the folks out there listening to us. So tune into our social media accounts at Babylon First for more updates.
Yeah.
But I think we need to reach out to our sort of unofficial guides through Babylon 5. John, and maybe even Norman, who wrote in earlier. We need to reach out to them, and we can ask them specifically. They've helped us be able to navigate this, and I just say we reach out to them and figure it out.
I think that's a good idea.
So
what do you think?
No answer for those who.
Yeah, right. Hey, we're Babylon 5-ing everybody. Here's the question. No answer.
There you go.
Tune in next time and see what happens.
Right.
But based on the title, Brent, A Voice in the Wilderness. What do you think it's going to be about?
So, a voice in the wilderness, one crying out, "Make straight the path of the Lord," is what that calls back to mind. So I feel like this has to be, I think this one has to have religious overtones, because that's immediately where my mind goes. And it's somebody who's preparing the way for something that's about to come. We know we're getting towards the end of the season, right? And we had this whole thing about the religious cast and all this stuff. So I think this might be another Minbari episode.
Okay.
And I think that this might be like a prophet of some sort comes on the station, and like this person is warning of a future war to come or something like that, or like a somebody giving you like a, hey, be careful because this is about to happen, or
like the station's going to explode, kind of like Lady Ladir or whatever her name was said in Signs and Portents.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah. Like a Professor Trelawney kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Only like legit. So that's my, but I totally think it's going to be like some John the Baptist looking dude, like coming in, eating, dressed in burlap and eating his own flies and, all weird and wild and that kind of stuff. So,
I need no birthing. I will stay where the Lord provides.
Right. But I don't know, whatever that looks like, but I think it's a Minbari. So whatever that looks like in Minbari.
Okay. I was going to say this is, I'm with you on the religious connotation. Totally.
Okay.
I want this to be the callback to Believers. And somehow like the comeuppance from
that
that
fish
leads
people
to something. No, the Sean, the kid that got killed. Was that Believers? Yeah, the kid that
the fish, because they have the air bladders.
Okay, yeah.
Fish have air bladders. I call them the fish people. The great eggs.
Yeah, great egg. Exactly. I think we're going to be coming back to that. We're going to find out here next week whether it's 1 or 2 parts. We'll be here one way or the other. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're not subscribed to us on YouTube, subscribe. If you haven't gone on to Apple Podcasts yet and left us a 5-star review, please do so and you'll get one of these.
Oh, yes.
And don't forget to subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts, anywhere else. And until next time.
Jeff, remember, we said we were going to do this a little different now.
Zabagabi, 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 zabagabi.
Yeah. You talk like a Minbari. You know, there's nothing more annoying than Jeff. He's right.
It's my first time.
Zabagabi.
Zabagabi. YouTube, you guys are awesome. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for staying all the way to the end, because we know so many of you guys do. How do we know? Video analytics at YouTube tell us that you guys are watching all the way to the end.
And people awesome. make comments about the stuff that we talk about here.
We do that. Yeah, they do that too. So you guys do that. Jeff, we better get in on those comments and comment back like we promised that we always will. Yeah. But you guys are awesome. Thanks so much for joining us. Remember, like, subscribe, share, tell all your friends about this show. And
who wouldn't want to watch a show about Babylon 5? And
exactly.
Yeah, seriously.
Exactly. You should do that. So guys, you're awesome. And we'll see you next week for what possibly could be a 2-barter or not.
Well, we'll be in 1 week or 2.
Yeah, there you go.
So many mysteries. See you next time.
Bye guys.